Let's face it, lube makes everything about sex better. It can soften the skin. Ooh, yeah. It can reduce genital irritation. And it can even change the taste of oral. Come on. Hello and welcome back to What's the Safe Word? I'm Amp, and today I wanted to talk about something that happened the other day. I was in my favorite sex shop the other day looking through their aisle of motion lotion, aka lube. I know what lubes I like and I have some favorites, but I was looking through some of the newer stuff that I've never used before at the shop. And as I was reading through the ingredients, something caught my eye. Ingredients, manufactured. Neither the manufacturer nor retailer assumes any liability for the use of this product?
Now wait a minute!
You're telling me that if I buy this lube and I'm using it on myself and something happens, I get a rash, it just doesn't sit well with my body, I'm not gonna hold them accountable for what they are selling to me?
No.
Now lube, short for lubrication, is used within sex or just masturbation to make it easier, slicker, smoother, less painful in many cases, and there's a lot of it out there. And personally, I really dislike the word lubricant. I mean, why say lubricant when you lubricant? But I suppose trying to redefine a term that's been around for hundreds of years is a slippery slope. And so it got me thinking, how many of these lubes out here are even good for your body? I mean, with warnings like that, it kind of leads you to believe that some of the stuff that's in the lube might not be good for you. Turns out the first known form of lube was in ancient Greece in 350 BC, when olive oil was used on dildos. Edo Japan used to use mashed yams as a lubricant, and even China and Korea had a bit of history in the lube department, where they would boil seaweed and get this mucousy kind of slick liquid they would use as lubricant. Luckily, we've come a long way with lube since then. So today, I wanted to just break down some of the different kinds of lubes that exist out there, the different purposes, pros and cons, and what you should look out for when you're buying your lubes. So let's just jump in and get our feet wet. And what better way to get your feet wet than with water-based lube? Now, when I was looking at the market, the majority of lubes that I saw out there were water-based. Pros for water-based lube include being safe for condoms, being safe for all toys, being very inexpensive, and just being easy to find. However, they don't always stay wet for long. Water-based lubes are water-soluble, so they can't be used in bodies of water. It also means that our bodies will absorb it over time and become sticky and tacky. If it becomes tacky, you can of course add a bit of water or even just some spit. It's wet again. Oh well, now I have to clean that up. Oh, damn it. They're also very easy to clean up with soap and water, and they're not gonna stain. Also, for you kinksters out there, water-based lubes like J-Lube, for example, are great for fisting, and general water-based lubes conduct electricity, so you can use those with e-stim or electrical toys. And there's just tons of options out there for water-based lubes, which can be both a pro and a con if you don't know what you're looking for. Before we talk about this next form of lube, I do want to make a point that there is a reason California is known to just have more sex in general. I mean, we have an entire valley dedicated to this next form of lube. What? Why is it called Silicon Valley then? Silicone comes in many shapes and forms in our society. I mean, just look at RuPaul's Drag Race. Now, silicone lube is condom safe and stays slickest the longest, and this is because our skin's mucous membrane cannot absorb the lube, therefore it stays slick and it continues to just be nice and slippery. Also really soft. It's also hypoallergenic. And because it stays slickest the longest, you're going to be reapplying less versus like water-based lubes, and you're probably gonna be saving a lot more lube. And it's good you're saving money on the amounts of lube you're using because silicone lube can be a bit more expensive. Similarly, silicone lubes will break down a good deal of silicone toys. So make sure that if you are using a silicone lube, you've checked to make sure it's not gonna break down those toys because science. And while it is incredibly slick, it's also really hard to clean if you're getting it on wood, tile, or any sort of flooring that you would otherwise not want to slip on. Similarly, if you get it on any clothing, any fabric, any bed sheets, it can stain that cloth. So make sure you soak that fabric in any Dawn dish soap and water before actually throwing it in the laundry. Some might say there's nothing to gain in this instance. I would detergent you from using detergent on silicone stains. So turn the tide on silicone stains. I mean, we wouldn't want you to be down knee a set of sheets. I'll go. No problem. Also, just avoid the floor. It's still great for glass and metal toys, but it should be noted that it should not be used for electrical play because it will work as an insulator. But honestly, silicone is still my favorite for penetrative sex. And for sex, it won't take a buttload. Although you could use it to get a butt load. I'm not gonna judge you, whatever you like. Now our next lube is not only great for cooking up trouble in the kitchen, but also great for cooking up trouble in the bedroom for some people, and that is oil-based lubes. If you're looking for a lube that has a long-lasting, silky feel that reminds you of your favorite meal, oil-based lubes might be the right lube for you. Many people find that it's an easy way to go from a nice massage to something a little more sexy and intimate, and because they're so easy to find, they are considered some of the cheapest, easiest forms of lube to obtain. But that's really the only pros that I have. But let me ask you a question. Do you like Star Trek? Because oil-based lubes have some serious... The first of which is don't use oil-based lubes with condoms, ever. Just don't do it. They will break down your condoms and they will rip and tear. They're also known to trap bacteria in many cases, and it will still stain the hell out of your sheets. Though I will say, when I was looking through oil-based lubes, the one caveat to oil-based lubes was coconut oil. There was a huge argument online whether it was good for you, bad for you. Many people said that it led to heightened yeast infections in some women, but others said that it was an antifungal, anti-irritant. It also smells good, tastes good, and it is recommended for some people who find irritation in just basic water-based or basic silicone. So use with caution, make sure you double check and make sure it's not going to do anything to your body, and if you're finding you're having a lot more yeast infections, I mean, stop. So I'm not coconuts about this lube, but it works for some people. It's 7 a.m., I haven't had coffee and I'm still able to do puns. That's a miracle. Coffee is kind of a lube for your body to get it started for the day. What does that make the creamer? I mean, I like a good creamer in my coffee. Is that a metaphor? Then there is the last big lube category, which is hybrids. Hybrids? You mean like one of those furries? No, unless you're talking about like incorporating the best parts of like an animal, which is maybe the silicone, and the best parts of a human, which are like water-based, and putting it into one majestic beast, which would be hybrid lube, then yes. No, hybrid lubes are just taking the best parts of silicone and the best parts of water-based lubes and mixing it all into one. They're fine for condoms and generally safe for toys. They'll still check that label, and they stay super slick for a decent amount of time. Not as long as silicone, but they're not going to get as tacky as water-based, so you might still need to reapply at times. The cost, generally intermediate. Other slick contenders that should be mentioned in the lube category, the first of which is arousal lubes. Now, arousal lubes are generally water-based lubes that have added chemicals in them that cause that cooling or warming sensation. And this can really heighten the sensation for some genitals, but it can also irritate you, so be careful. There's also flavored lubes, which can add a nice sensation and taste to oral sex or just licking your person's body in general. Finally on our list is desensitizing lubes. Now these can help tops last longer if they're known to get off too quickly, and can help with discomfort of anal or just general penetration for a bottom. But be conscious that pain is your body's way of saying this isn't okay or something's not right, so don't go overboard with desensitizing lubes and make sure you are using them correctly. So now that we've gone over what lubes exist out there, let's talk about just some general safety before we end this episode. First off, if you're going to be using lube and condoms in your sex, make sure that you're adding a little bit of lube on your penis or whatever you're inserting before you put the condom on. Imagine rubbing a condom over your skin without putting any lube on it. There's going to be lots of friction there, and you're going to find a lot of ripping and tearing that's going to happen. No matter how nice the smell and the feel of oil-based massage lubes are, do not use them for insertion and don't use them with condoms. Some lubes will prompt that they have aloe vera in them, and it'll say that this is better for your skin, it's gonna hydrate you, but be aware that aloe vera can break down silicone toys, so do not mix those two. There are some really inexpensive lubes out there, but what you're saving in cost, you're going to be paying for in STIs, other infections, or just discomfort in general. And get your notes ready, because I'm gonna go over a lot of the chemicals that you don't wanna find in your lubes that I found in a lot of those lubes on the shelves. The first of which are petrochemicals, and petrochemicals can be found in a lot of those flavored lubes. Avoid parabens as they're known to mimic estrogen in the body. Propylene glycol can cause genital irritation. Polyquaternium has actually been found by the World Health Organization to increase HIV-1 replication. Other chemicals to avoid include inoxidil 9, petroleum oils, sugar alcohols, acetate, benzocaine, midichlorines, glycerin, and citric acid, to name a few. It's always a best practice to read your lube labels. Make sure that what you're reading actually makes sense and you can actually pronounce it. And if you're unsure about anything, look online. I'll leave a list down below of all these chemicals you should avoid for your own reference. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you found this episode insightful, educational, slick. All lubes aren't created equal, and I spent years trying out different lubes to find the one that worked for me. And I'm talking about, I've tried flavor lubes, I've tried numbing lubes, I've tried water-based, I've tried silicone. And I will round out this video by saying that my favorite and my go-to lube has always been silicone. The purer, the better. I really like Slickwood, Wet has a decent silicone, and I actually really enjoy the Mr. S Body Glide. Whether you're using lube or not, please, I hope you're using lube. Always have a safe word, and today's safe word is slick, because I am. Leave a comment down below if you found out that your lube was trash. Leave a like if you found this informational and educational. And I will see you guys next time on What's a Safe Word. Bye! If you have a favorite kind of lube, leave it in the comments. I'll put together a little list. Also, fun fact, spit lube is actually the lube that porn companies use to simulate cum in like scenes, and it tastes awful. It's also, well, I don't want to get in an argument on Twitter, so it's great. It's great, for as far as you know.